Just because people go to school does not mean that they're educated. We need to be good at what we do. There are people that go to school to become plumbers, and they make $120,000 to $150,000 a year, for crying out loud. There are people that are electricians. They're the highest paid in terms of tradesmen. You don't have to have a degree. They make more money than people that actually have degrees. Sometimes we try to do things that are just too sophisticated, too grand, too big. There are people that just sell small chops, and they're doing very well. So do you think just because you have a master's degree, you cannot provide snacks to people? We're a heavily import-driven economy. The implication of that is everything that we consume is brought from another country. Doing business in Nigeria is difficult. For me, the definition of that is, so I'm an engineer by trade. Of course, I studied engineering, electronic and communications engineering. I started off in the telecom industry in the UK. I was fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to travel to England. So that's where I did my college and my undergrad. I got my bachelor's degree in engineering. And I worked for, when I was in the UK, I worked for Siemens as a data analyst. And then I worked for X-Tech. We used to produce phones that were used in ships and vessels, etc. And after a while, I wanted to, of course, do my master's. So I left England, moved to Canada. Again, studied more courses on telecommunications. I did my postgrad in wireless telecoms, and then down the line, I did my MBA, of course, specializing in mining and strategy. But in that time frame, while I was in Canada, I worked in marketing. I worked in pharmaceutical for quite a number of years, actually. I think 8 years. I worked in pharmaceuticals. So for me, that was where I saw manufacturing end to end. And being from technology, because I was supporting them from the technology unit, we saw everything. We understood what the legal department was doing, procurement, quality control, quality assurance, the team making the medicine that is sold in pharmacies. So I saw everything. So I had a sense of appreciation for manufacturing. I understood it very well, and there was an opportunity for a come back home to Nigeria. I figured, at some point in time, we need to do something. We need to come back home. I ventured around the world. Everyone travels to China. I traveled to China. I remember going to Canton Fair. For me, that was a starting point for me. Visiting a lot of suppliers, and I eventually settled for the packaging industry, because packaging is huge everywhere around the world. So I ventured into packaging, bought a whole bunch of equipments, to start the journey. Actually, this is on the recycling side. Actually, at that point in time, we're still in the waste management. That is the waste collection. And when the machines arrived, the Nigerian economy tanked. The global economy tanked. Raw material, the business case, the business plan was nothing. It didn't exist again. There wasn't any profit anymore in the business. So you start doing research. Okay, companies must be doing something. I'm still seeing product on the market. How are they doing it? My name is Habib Ahmed. I am the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Environmental Expressions Limited. We are a company based out of Abuja, Nigeria. Specifically, we provide waste management services to public and private clients. We also have facilities where we recycle material, plastics, and the likes. And we also take some of that recycled material into finished products. So in essence, we produce finished products from the recycled material. We've been in business for quite a number of years. I think we started off in 2006 as a company, mostly in the waste collection space. And of course, when you take garbage, it hurts you to just see value that is just thrown away and not utilized. So that memory and imprint has always been at the back of our mind to say we need to do something about it. And of course, at some point in time, we decided to do something about it, and we figured we would go into recycling because that is the next step. We started recycling plastics back in 2013, and here we are today. We recycle plastic films, particularly pure water sachet, which is a form of avenue or product that most people get the drinking water that they consume today in Nigeria. And of course, we also recycle plastic bottles, specifically PET bottles. So the water bottles and all the beverages that come in the PET bottles. And we work with a network of people. We have our own collection centers in a few points within northern Nigeria specifically, because the north is sufficient enough for us in terms of raw material. And those collection centers partner with people that are in the informal sectors who have been collecting waste, all types of waste, cans, cardboard, bottles, glass, you name it. And specifically, we work with them. We say, this is our needs, these are our requirements. We build up the manpower in our facilities to ensure that we're able to support them, because they have a huge network of indirect employees. So indirect, the numbers, I can't even put a number to it. You could have one aggregator has 30, 40 unemployed youth working for him. And there are many of them, 10, 15, 20. So it depends on who you call and who you're reaching out to. I know one aggregator that has this supplying us with material. He employs 1,000 people. So an aggregator is an individual that collates material from pockets, from different neighborhoods. Let's say he's in Kano, he's collecting materials from a number of places, different drop-off points. It could be in a particular neighborhood. Within that neighborhood, he's collecting from 5, 6 people. So he's literally aggregating and collecting all that material to have it all in one place. Then the big buyers come, people like us, and there are many of our colleagues in the industry that do the same thing. We then go to them, we collect the material and bring that to our facilities for onward processing, of course. In our case, with the pure water sachet, we process the pure water, we convert that to raw material that allows us to make shopping bags and garbage bags that we sell in the market locally. You may not be able to differentiate because it's your typical black bags that is available anywhere in the market, except for the fact that you have used the bag and the little branding that we have on the bag. Then you'll get a clear sense of, okay, this product is definitely from EEL. EEL is short for Environmental Expressions Limited. So that's basically what it is, for us in terms of staff strength. We have the service team, and then of course we have the manufacturing team. So you can employ a lot of people within the environmental space because there's just so much work that needs to be done. There is no infrastructure. There's literally no structure in place, except for big cities like Abuja, Lagos, etc., Ogun State, and a couple other places. But apart from that, for the most part, there isn't any real structure in place with respect to waste management. And we're hoping that as the years go by, things will continue to improve. People will see the opportunity that this is a huge employer of labor, and there's the need to pay more attention to it, not just from the employment side, but also from the health side of things, to make sure that the community is clean and you have less challenges also from a health perspective. The air that we breathe will be clean, etc., and the likes. I started buying the pellets from people, and then I just moved backwards. I bought machines. I would buy the pre-processed raw material, make the pellets myself, and then I said, okay, well, the pre-processed raw material, I need to make it myself. So hence the facility that we have today. We have the washing lines, the large washing lines and the pelletizing lines, which gives us the opportunity to get the feedstock, pre-process the material, get it to the point where we can now pelletize it and then utilize it to make finished products. So when I bought the pellets, I remember I'm like, okay, how much am I making? No, I need to make more money, man. What is this? So I asked questions. Where are they getting the material to produce these pellets? I want to see the machine. Okay. I actually have the machine. Great. So I started looking for the materials. So that's how I started working backwards. Where they didn't get the materials from? Okay, how are they processing the material? And then I started fabricating machines too. I fabricated my first crusher. I'll show you. And that was the journey. So I started to work backwards. I just kept working backwards. And the moment I cracked the code, I spent a lot of time. Because I was coming from pharmaceutical. And when you make drugs, it's all about formulas. I'm like, there has to be a formulation for this thing. So I played around with different types of material. It doesn't matter what was available. We would still mix it in a manner and produce the same finished product, and you wouldn't know. So for me, right from day one, I just said, nope, 100% recycled material. Unless if we're making a product that requires us to produce virgin material. And in some instances, for example, I produce garbage bags for hospitals within the city of Abuja. And in hospitals, garbage bags are color-coded, yellow, red, blue, green, depending on what it's used for. So some instances we would buy virgin material, and after a while I said, well, we need to get transparent material and recycle it. And voila, we started making recycled colored garbage bags. The opportunity is right there, it's sitting in front of you, and no one's doing anything about it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's mind-boggling. So we need to go at it and continue to improve, create a model that other people can replicate. It's just very simple. And the thing about business is sometimes we try to do things that are just too sophisticated, too grand, too big. There are people that just sell small chops and they're doing very well. So do you think just because you have a master's degree, you cannot provide snacks to people? As long as they're paid and you can make top-notch quality snacks, doesn't make any difference to me. I mean, I studied engineering, but I've worked in pharmaceutical, but here I am, I'm doing waste management. You can call me Babambola because I pick up garbage, but someone has to offer that service and then we're willing to do it. If I don't do it, it's going to become a menace to society. If we stop work today, the entire place will be a mess. So as far as I'm concerned, you have to have a passion for the things that we do. You have to be passionate to want to take care of your environment, to want to smell fresh air. For people to say, oh, I don't go to the hospital anymore because there are no mosquitoes around. Because the entire place is clean. We need to aim for something as a society and as a people. When you have been around systems where people create things, you embody that mentality. Unfortunately, sometimes in Nigeria, you have people do briefcase business. They do business, but there really isn't a structure in place. Case in point, when that person passes on and they're no longer alive, the business no longer exists. So we need to change the trajectory of how we do things as a people. And also keep in mind that we're a heavily import-driven economy. The implication of that is everything that we consume is brought from another country.
How do you change that?
By making it ourselves. Nobody wants to do the heavy lifting. People are afraid, what if government changes, government policies? Yes, we acknowledge the fact that doing business in Nigeria is difficult, and we are hopeful that the government would begin to address some of these issues to make life seamless and easy for people. And for me, the definition of that is for anyone to be able to walk into somewhere and not know anyone and get service. So you have a container that comes in. I didn't need to make a phone call. In 48 hours, it was cleared. For me, that is service. If we're able to get government to make the environment conducive enough to that level to do business, no one will stop us as a people and as a country.
But how do you overcome the current challenges? We know all we want the government to lead, but when it's how do you overcome those challenges?
The question is this: what are those challenges? The challenges are monumental. So you find that when you do business, you end up being a government of your own. You have to provide electricity, infrastructure, the whole nine yards. You overcome that challenges by actually putting something in place and continue to advocate and really connect with people that work in government to say, you need to change direction. And I think over the last 8 years, really, government is starting to listen, but not at the pace or rate that we expect them to listen. But things have changed over the last 8 years, probably 12 years, but it needs to aggressively get better. The challenges are huge. There's infrastructure issues. The roads are bad. There's no power. So it is to begin to address pillars of society, certain pillars of productive economies, and that will have a spillover effect. For example, the roads are bad. Great. But if you say there's 24/7 electricity everywhere, the conversation changes now. If you say private companies can build their own rail network, the conversation changes. So making the business environment conducive enough is for government to pull back and allow for Nigerians to develop the country. Of course, there's certain aspects where we want the government to step in, but it's to step in to make it easy for people to build their country. You don't have to be the one to do everything yourself, which has always been the case. That's why, in my opinion, Nigeria has sort of stagnated with respect to development. But now you can go set up your own power plant from wherever you're from, connect that power plant to the distribution network in that particular region and supply power and for people to pay. You weren't able to do that before. If we had done that 20 years ago, we would not have power issues today. So again, it's for a government to take a step back to say, how do we really make the environment conducive enough? And these policies need to be a service to the people. That is the key thing. Sometimes they are not a service to the people. They are a disservice. If the shareholders, which are Nigerians, are not benefiting, not the people that are in office, people are not benefiting. As far as I'm concerned, it's not good policy. So once you put them in focus in mind, you find that people will make the right decisions. And again, because we're so enterprising as a people, we run with it. So someone has to at least try. And we are saying we are going to continue to try. We're going to continue to encourage people. You don't need to own an oil block to be a businessman in Nigeria. You don't need to own an airplane to be a businessman. There minute little things that you can do in your own infinite power and wisdom, servicing Nigerians, providing services or products to everyday Nigerians, and you will do well and fine. There's a human capital problem in Nigeria. People don't admit it. But I will tell you there is. Just because people go to school does not mean that they're educated. The reality is this: when you put them to task and you get people to actually do the work, you realize that there are gaps. So yes, there's a certain type of skill set that is available, but the certain type of skill set that is required to drive the country to where it needs to be, a lot more work needs to be done on the educational sector. So there is a human capital problem. Physical labor is available, but beyond physical labor, there are gaps. That's just the truth of the matter. People don't want to admit it, but it's the reality. The systems that are in place that are training people don't get people to be at their best. If you have a tiler, it's a headache. Why is the tile not leveled? What? Because the proper training is not there. So it doesn't have to be formal education, even technical education. We need to specialize. We need to be good at what we do. There are people that go to school to become plumbers, and they make $120,000 to $150,000 a year, for crying out loud. They like physical work. There are people that are electricians. They're the highest paid in terms of tradesmen. You don't have to have a degree. They make more money than people that actually have degrees. So we need to reorient ourselves to say you don't need to have a degree. For me, it doesn't make any sense. Having a degree is good to a certain extent, but you don't need to have a degree. You just need to be able to use what the brain that God has given you for you to be able to learn things, how to make and how to do things, and to do it really well. You need to provide a product or service for the masses, for the people. And as much as possible, you need to make sure that whatever you're doing is a need, not a want. That plugs you into the fabric of society. Wants are good, but when there's economic downtime, people don't pay attention to wants. But needs, on the other hand, people will always go back and buy whatever it is that they require because they need it. Number two, patience. And you have to realize that this is not a straight journey. And you need to be willing to listen to people. Be very open. You may start off doing one thing and end up doing something entirely different from where you started. So where you start is not where you end. And you have to, of course, take into cognizance the environment that they were in and the sort of challenges. Getting capital to buy a machine is not it. There's everything else that you need to get that machine to work. So you always need to take a step back and be more realistic. It's not a friend told you this business is great. You need to actually go out there and do a proper market survey. Who's buying this? How much are they buying it and for what? And the people that are selling it now, how quickly do they move their inventory? You have to ask realistic questions. So this is my advice really for people. It's not just to go into any business. If you want to go into a business, you need to go down to the grassroots level. Who's in that business? If you can get through to people, talk to them first before you go into the business. And you want to make sure that it's a case wherein people are looking for you. You are not looking for people. And if you're looking for people, then you have something that they really need. They just don't know they need it. So again, there's a lot of advice, but again, for me, it's make sure you're focusing on needs first. Then later on, you can graduate and go into wants. Some of the sad realities about what happens in the environment that we live in is the answers to our problems are here. First thing, of course, they're the obvious problems, solving power challenges. So to allow for private sector to really take off and to begin to upscale the economy, provide employment, etc. But within the fabric of government itself, it's the mindset and the mentality in which government is run. In my opinion, there isn't a service mentality. You have more of a procurement, revenue-driven mentality. And when you have that sort of mentality, sometimes you don't see beyond what is in front of you. And to that effect, if you are serving the people, you listen to everybody. If you walk into a government office and you talk to some of the civil servants in there, they are amazing people. Ideas from now till thy kingdom come. But because of hierarchy, they can't even tell their superiors anything. People will say, oh, that's not true, but it's the reality. If you as a contractor, if you work for government, you know that next person can't even go to his director to give him advice. The director's just not going to listen because he thinks, I'm ahead of you, I'm better than you, and that's not true. Even the person that just started working a year ago may have some little idea that could change the way things are done because they will see things from a different perspective. So is that openness to say, we need to do things differently, and that idea can come from anywhere, and that whatever we do, we need to serve our people. We're not serving our people. That's why sometimes government continues to make mistakes. So there will be gaps in ideas and policies, but once you put that Nigerian in front of you, there wouldn't be a gap. in my opinion. Other people may have other ideas, but I think it's to have a service culture. And also, those that are serving need to be taken care of. They should not be the bottom of the barrel. They should also feel like they're worth something. You don't need to be at the top, the echelon of it all to be able to make a living. Right at the lowest levels, you should be able to make a living. Government, unfortunately, is one of the biggest spenders. They drive a lot of things in any country. They stimulate the economy. So they have the potential to drive Nigeria to where it needs to go. But it starts with being providing service to the people.